Alright, I'm back. I had to flip the motor over. So it was oil pan facing up. Fucking A, this damn light. There we go. Oil pan facing up. No matter how dry you have a motor, there will still be oil and antifreeze seeping out of this bitch. Now if you are doing it in a household like mine, I recommend some Purple Power. Yep, Purple Power in a 5-gallon bucket with an old school Family Dollar $1 mop. You know, it takes a few goes to go at it, but it does it. But anyway, back to where we were. Now you have flipped your motor over, whether you're on your stand or you're on the ground. Take all the 10mm bolts out around the oil pan. If you have a JDM motor, 9 out of 10 it's probably Honda bonded to the motor, because they don't like to use gaskets because they don't keep their motors very long. You're gonna wanna, stick your screwdriver in there, pry it up. This one I already did. Actually, I believe this one has a gasket on the bottom of it. Yes, it does. This one has a gasket on it. Thank you, Kevin. Anyway, they're easy to pick up. Just pop them off. Give them a little wiggle, because they usually don't like to come off. Oh, something's on here. That freaking gasket's stuck. Yep. Oh, there we go. That gasket was stuck. Well, just pull it out. Downside up. Oh, yeah, this thing definitely had a rod knock. Or some sort of knock. Could be a crank knock, but all that shiny shit, it's all flakes of bearing. Or metal, in my case. Whether it be metal or bearing, I'm hoping it's bearing. But if it is not, it is definitely metal. Little tiny chunks of metal. I knew I seen some draining out the oil, I just didn't think it was this bad. See, look, this right here, little chunks. I know you can't see them. Fuck, I hate this camera. Chunks of flaking metal. That is a huge chunk. I know you see that. That's either metal or looks to be bearing. It's definitely bearing because it has a knock. Whether it be metal fully or whatnot. But we are going to place this over here on top of the valve cover. Now start taking, ooh, look at all that bearing right there. Whew. All that extra bearing right there, bam. Yeah, beautiful. Okay. Now you're going to want to, take your paper towel, clean off any oil you see pretty much that's in a lot of it, just so when you go to pour it upside down, it's gonna whatever. Now, I don't know if you could see in there, but you see all that chunk in there? Once a bearing goes bad, usually you won't hear it. You have to have a keen ear for it, especially if you build your own motors. You will hear a little bit of a chatter. It sounds like a throw-out bearing sometimes. You know what I'm talking about, fellas, the throw-out bearings. It's a throw-out bearing. You press the clutch in. If you do that, you press the clutch in and it doesn't go away, and you changed your clutch, whatever, shit's good, it's gonna be a bearing. Now, bearings take forever to go out, but if you're constantly beating on it, it will go out sooner than later. But in this case, it was a lot sooner. Now, this step is, we are gonna take the oil pickup off, which is these two bolts right here, 10mm, and then this 10mm, and that 10mm right there. Then, once this is off, you're going to take this. This is what everybody calls a windage tray. Keeps your oil from slushing around the pan when you're taking turns. So that way it keeps the oil where the pickup is. So it keeps your oil pressure high, especially going around turns, because it's, you got a lot of G-force, you're turning, and then the oil slowly goes over to this side of the pan, which just so happens to be the high side. You want to keep it in the low side so the pickup keeps it. less oil, less pickup. You get an air bubble through there. You know, that'll be bad. Alright, you're gonna take this bolt off, that bolt, that bolt. You're gonna remove this windage tray along with this pickup. Pickup first, windage tray next. I'm gonna go and do that. Catch you guys in a second. Alright, now you got your 2 bolts out. You get your 2 bolts for the pickup. You're gonna pull the pickup off. Now be careful. The motor hasn't been sitting for a while like this one. As soon as you take that off, it's gonna spill out everywhere. See, as it's doing now. So you're gonna want to turn it upside down. You're gonna want to lay it upside down like this, and then you're gonna want to bang it because there's a bunch of chunks in there. The pickup screen caught. You don't want those in there. That's the last thing you want. Because that screen is there to protect pretty much your head from getting chunks of bearing. Because bearings are 9 out of 10 go first. You're going to want to take your windage tray off. Okay? You're going to put your windage tray in the pan. Pick it upside down. It's nice and clean. It's not shiny, but it's clean. Alright. Most of these things do not have, most of the motors, like I believe the LS's, they don't have what we call a cradle. This is your cradle. They have caps, which is crank caps, which is these right here on the side that are connected to our cradle. We have a cradle for some reason. I don't really care. I think it's cool, but it is a bitch to get off. Now, your next step is going to be, these are exactly like the head studs. Bam, 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 bam. They're called main studs. There's 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 10 of them. Okay? There's only one way that this cradle can go on. If you try and put it on the other way, this end will smack the oil pump. It's not going to happen. We are going to want to take this off. But be careful. Alright, I took the liberty. All the main bolts are out. They're out, but they're loose. Now, do not mix these with the head bolts. I do believe they are not the same size. These are short. But, like I said, there's a lot of idiotic people out there in this world. Take them out. Put them in a nice clean spot. There's my wrench. Let's look for that. These things, 20 years, about 20 years of these things being down there, never touched. They are a bitch to get out. I had to bust out with persuasion and a 1/2-inch ratchet and go to town. Let's see. I need my I have a hammer, fiberglass handle. Now you're just gonna there's a trick to doing these sometimes. Bang on it, loosen them up a little bit like that, and then they pop right out. Then take your like that. See how loose it is? Yeah. See? Well, in this case, well, it was definitely a rod knock. But see the little shiny things in there? These bearings are fucked now. So all those little shits in there. And they scorched the crank. So the crank is now needs to be micro polished. There's my rod knock. Oh, this one too. 2 out of... that was good. Yep, rod knock. Number 3. 3 out of 4. Look at that. This one's for you, Kevin. Yeah, I know you like it. Alright. You do not have to take the pump off unless you are removing the crank, which means you don't have to touch anything on timing side, just the timing belt. You could leave the cog there if you want, keyway in there and everything. Rear main seal you could leave. That's brand new. I'm going to leave that in there. I'm going to try and see if I can get away with just changing the rod bearings and the main bearings. Get away with it. But if I were you and you wanted to change your rod bearings, do one piston at a time. Do not mess up the rod caps. You know, you can't take rod cap number 2 and put it on number 4. It's not the same. It'll be off by thousandths and it'll start knocking and all that. Just keep your rod caps where they are, one piston at a time. If you were to take your piston out, if you wanted to change your rings, I'm not going that far, I don't need to. But if you were to, because I'm going to explain it to you, you would turn your crank, which means you would take your 19mm bolt, your crank bolt, stuff it back in there, tighten it down, and I seem to be having a problem with that. There we go. It's best if you have the block not sitting completely flat on the ground. If it's on completely flat on the ground, then the compression from the rings will suck up whatever is underneath it, whether it be hard or not, but it'll just be a bitch to turn. It'd be like having your head on. Just won't have to worry about valves. I'm fucking mechanic illiterate today. Okay. I recommend if you have a rod knock, you polish out your crank, have it polished, have it cleaned. You don't have to have it polished, just have it cleaned, just to get all the little specks of metal. Like I showed you in the oil pan. That shit's hard to find. They're like little teeny weeny little dots. They can get everywhere and they can fuck up your day. I'm gonna take off this and see how bad my damage is. I'll be back in a minute. So I came to the decision, after looking through this block, that I found out how it went bad, completely. I took the end cap off of this. It is bad. It's scorched pretty bad. And there's barely any bearing left. So which means it was going like that for a while. Which means it had to be knocking for a while. Not even a knock, could have been a chatter. But I'm going to show you what happened. I'm going to show you my theory, okay? After I get this fucking end cap out. Okay, I got the end cap off. It doesn't matter, this thing's completely fucked anyway. Alright. Oh, yeah, there goes one of those. There's an end cap. Completely destroyed. I don't know if you can see it. That really don't make a difference, but it does because you scraped away some of the surface, which means that if you're off by 1,000th, you're gonna get a rod knock. You're gonna burn through another bearing. So now I need a new rod. Okay. Here is the rod cap. I mean the rod itself. Just as bad, if not worse, because it was rubbing against the crank. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's not even. You can feel the hell of a difference. There's a lip in there, right here. Whole lip. Here's what's left of the bearings. I want to know how you could let it get that bad without finding a knock or some sort of chatter or cut out anything. Anything. This is for you, Kevin, man. You definitely came out on top. And then this one's just starting to knock anyway, but either way it needs a new crank. So I'm good. I need one rod and a crank. Funny thing about these F22bs is I can take all the bottom end parts from a stock single cam motor, which I'm going to have sitting around pretty soon because I have bad rings or ringlets in my block that's in my car. The one that I showed you that's smoking, that video, yeah. Still haven't had a chance to change it. I just got done doing the wife's car. I'm going to take the crank out of that block, put it in this block, take one of the rods out of there, put it in this rod with this piston, and I'm going to have a brand new f22b block because I'm going to change everything in it. It's going to be fully, freshly rebuilt. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this. It's going to be a little while before I get a rebuild up, but let you know how it goes.